The fragrant flower blooms with dignity. So I just saw this romance anime, and to my own surprise, I actually really loved it. Really enjoyed it. I don't know if I loved it. It's still not necessarily my thing, as you could see from my YouTube channel. But I mean, yeah, all things considered, I actually really enjoyed it because it does all the tropes. It's very much a slice of life romance anime. But it did it all. It was handled in such a way that made it feel more believable than the ones I've seen in the past, or the ones I used to watch back in high school like 10 years ago. So what it's about is it follows this really cute, petite, beautiful, warm, kind-hearted girl named Karuko, and she goes to a very rich private school for just females. You have to be really smart to get in there. They have a certain status in society if you go there. And right next door is her love interest. It's a boy named Rintaro, and he is complete opposite on every level. He's extremely tall, he's very masculine, he's got piercings, he's got dyed blonde hair, and he's got a very intimidating face, and he's very serious. But his personality doesn't reflect that. He's a contradiction. His personality is very soft, very meek, and just very kind. He cares about the people around him, but he's so used to people being afraid of him and labeling him as just like a delinquent, scary guy, that it's one of those things where everyone tells you that you're something, so you start to believe it. So he just doesn't even try to cultivate relationships anymore. He just exists, you know? And this story is told from his perspective. So I'm sure we're going to get more eventually, because this story is based on a manga that is still ongoing and well over 100 chapters. So I'm sure there's going to eventually be more fleshing out with the girl. But for now, she's just kind of like a cliche girl. So the story is from his perspective, his friend group, and that's where I want to get into the side characters. So to me, this is what makes the story special, because the romance is fine, the romance is entertaining, it's cute, it's compelling, it's satisfying. They get to the point right away. There's no like dancing around romance for 20 episodes. This season so far is only 13 episodes, and I feel like by episode 2, the ball's rolling. So I really enjoy how fast the romantic pace is, while still being, I guess, realistic in how two young people eventually start to get together. It doesn't happen overnight, you know? So I like that. But like I said, what makes it special, what makes this story so compelling to me are the side characters, and not because they're more interesting, but because they just feel so real, and I feel like they really contributed to the story. So first and foremost, the guys, because like I said, this is from the guys' perspective. The boyfriend group, they're really funny, they're really entertaining. One of them is like the comedic hooligan type of guy, and then another one is the introverted, smart, serious one, and the other one, he's just the nice guy that goes along with everything. But they all have their own thing that makes them unique and not just a cliche. But what I like most is that their friendship feels authentic. This doesn't feel like other friend groups in other shows where it's just like, why is the main character friends with these guys? You know, like they're just superficial, they're just dumb. It doesn't make sense why he's with them, you know? And I feel like here their relationship mattered. Everyone had their own little dynamic with each other. And it's really, there's a side story told there of like the guys kind of being vulnerable and kind of being like, hey, like, I do care about you, man. You know, like, I want you to trust me. And I like that. That was kind of mature to take the friendship story in that way, you know, and not in a super melodramatic way where like the guys are acting stupid, but you know, it's like, oh, it's because deep down they care. Like, I feel like here, everyone, I think that's why I like this story so much, is because usually in these adolescent anime stories, everyone keeps everything hidden and so restrained, and it creates so much unnecessary drama, you know? And I feel like here they do act their age immature. I feel like in this story, characters are saying what they think and what they feel way more often, and that I really like that. I really like that type of character writing. And then the big one, to my surprise, the girl friendship of Subaru, the best friend of the main character, Kaoruko. Subaru, I thought I knew who she was when she came out, and she was super stern, super rude, and possessive over her friend. I was like, oh, I know where this is going. She's going to be super possessive. She's going to be like, these guys are beneath you. Don't hang around with them. I thought she was going to do everything in her power to sabotage this relationship and just be a thorn, you know, in this whole story. But actually, even though it was that story, it didn't last that long. And she actually has a character journey that is pretty compelling. And I just really liked the way her story was handled. And she has pride, she has prejudice towards these characters, towards these boys, but she has a specific reason for why she feels so angry towards boys, towards men. And that story was actually really interesting. she grows. She's not just holding on to this resentment the whole story, creating drama, acting out, because sometimes these characters act like, oh, I care about you and that's why I'm acting so toxic, you know? And sometimes it just doesn't make sense. It's like, if you cared about this person, you would change, or if you cared about this person, you would reflect on your choices, you know? And this character does that, and I think that's why I liked it so much. To me, she shows through her actions, she shows through her change that she actually does care for her friend, and this isn't just a super selfish, toxic woman. And then there's also a romance that is teased at in this season with her and one of the other boys, which I won't spoil just in case you haven't seen it. And I actually really like it. Like, it's very slow burn, so they've only planted the seed so far, and I think that's perfect, because as soon as she met this guy, I was like, oh, that would work. And then they kept planting the seeds with just little looks and little interactions that I'm excited to see where that relationship goes. And I think it was smart to not rush that relationship, because she's still on her own personal growth journey, and she's actually like almost like a secondary main character in a way. So I like that they're like taking their time with that romance, and that's way more in the future, way more in the background. And for now, she's just kind of figuring herself out and getting over her own like issues. Yeah, I mean, all in all, like I said, I just really like the story. The romance is really satisfying. It's really entertaining. The comedy is great. In the beginning, it did feel a little like, ugh. Like I said, I don't really watch this type of content anymore. So in the beginning, like the over-the-top emotions, the blushing from the girls, and yeah, all that felt a little weird at first. But once the story started to present itself, like really present itself, once the characters started to make choices, I got really hooked, and I just really enjoyed this anime. And yeah, I hit the spot. I felt like I really needed to mix it up, not watch so much dark, serious content as I usually do. And yeah, this anime hit the spot. And yeah, I would love to know your guys' thoughts if you've seen it. And if I've maybe convinced you, if you want to watch something a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more satisfying, I think this is a pretty good watch that's lighthearted, you know? Good for the soul to watch those types of things every now and then. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the show, and let me know your favorite romance anime, just out of curiosity. Thanks for watching.